we are more comfortable being uncomfortable than we are being happy. So when things are good and when we start to get a sense of feeling good, our ego, the voice of fear within us, starts to say, hell no, too good to be true. And it will find these weird little corners to pick up problems. We have a fault-finding mindset rather than a solution, happiness-oriented mindset. We have a lot of odds stacked against us. But what we do have the power to control in our life right now is the choice of what we decide to bring into our consciousness. The choice to lean into more fear, the choice to engage in more drama, the choice to get hooked into more chaos, or the choice to lean into love no matter what. If we started looking at rejection as an opportunity to grow, what would we have to be afraid of? Faith is the belief system that there is a growth opportunity even in the midst of the most uncomfortable circumstances. Boom. And I wonder what that will bring us to today on our Dear Gabby Live. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Let's riff on that one. Let's take a real riff on that one. My faith. All right, let's talk about faith. The subtitle of my book, The Universe Has Your Back, which this card is from, is called Transform Fear to Faith. And what that means to me is that when we welcome in a presence beyond our own, when we welcome in a faith of a higher power of our own understanding, we can, as the card says, turn our trauma into healing, our conflict into growth, and our fear into love. Faith is the belief system that there is a growth opportunity even in the midst of the most uncomfortable circumstances. Boom. And I wonder what that will bring us to today on our Dear Gabby Live. Okay, here's the deal. We are more comfortable being uncomfortable than we are being happy. So when things are good and when we start to get a sense of feeling good, our ego, the voice of fear within us, starts to say, hell no, too good to be true. And it will find these weird little corners to pick up problems. We have a fault-finding mindset rather than a solution, happiness-oriented mindset. So when that happens, the next time you notice that you're feeling good and all is well, and all of a sudden you're like, but I wasn't nice enough to that person, or my coworkers aren't in a good place, or I didn't do that right, I want you to speak back to that voice. I want you to say, thank you for sharing, but I choose happiness instead. Thank you for sharing, but I don't believe that voice anymore. Thank you for sharing, but I'm choosing this moment. Give yourself permission in the moment to speak back to the fault-finding voice and start to claim the greatness of who you are. That is a pattern because you've lived your life in a habitual pattern of seeking problems and finding fault. Now we have to redirect and create a new habit and pattern of grounding you in the truth of who you are, which is happiness, joy, peace, and grace, sharing that happiness, joy, and peace with so much grace. Right now, we're living in extremely challenging times. We have a lot of odds stacked against us. But what we do have the power to control in our life right now is the choice of what we decide to bring into our consciousness. The choice to lean into more fear, the choice to engage in more drama, the choice to get hooked into more chaos, or the choice to lean into love no matter what. I choose love no matter what, to me, means that in any moment I'm looking for the opportunity for growth rather than the chaotic experience. It means that when I am outraged, I seek forgiveness. It means that when I am feeling unsteady, I look to seek for steadiness and relaxation and regulation. It means that no matter what is happening around me, I am in the pursuit of seeing things, seeing life, seeing my experiences through the lens of love. Now, is that easy? No. Does that take practice and commitment? Yes. Miracles arise out of conviction is one of my favorite messages from the text, A Course in Miracles. Miracles arise out of conviction. That commitment and that conviction to lean into a presence of love meaning the voice of our spiritual connection, love meaning the intuitive guidance within us, love meaning the kind nature that is who we are. The kind nature that is who we are has the power to dissolve all boundaries. Remember years ago, I was meeting with a spiritual teacher of mine. I was really struggling at the time, and I was telling her all about my physical issues and some of my emotional issues and the PTSD that I was dealing with. And she just looked me in the eye and she said, dissolve all boundaries with love. And it was one of the more profound messages I've ever heard. And it really hit me because even though I recognized all these obstacles and boundaries in my life at the time, there was a solution. And it was a choice that I could make. A choice that I could make to lean towards love and allow that loving presence within me to lead the way. So allow this to be more than just words for you today. And I'm going to give you a little homework. Take this message. I choose love no matter what. And in the next hour or 2 hours, when you notice yourself activated, when you notice yourself want to react or judge or attack, or when you notice yourself obsessing about a problem, say a prayer. I choose love no matter what. And then say thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, spirit, whoever you speak to, for revealing the loving solution to me now. There we go, guys. We have to reveal what's up in order for it to be healed. And when the world around us is in a state of discomfort and trauma, our own wounds get activated. Okay, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You already seem to be very grounded in that reality and being okay with what's up. So that's very, very good. And that's the first step, to be present with what's coming up and to allow it to come to the surface naturally. What I want to do is reference our card. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. So I can't decide for you what your faith is. You must decide that for yourself. And In the Universe Has Your Back, there's a practice called How to Create a Faith Statement. So if you have that book, you can use that practice, but I can kind of riff on it today. So what I ask of you when you're creating a faith statement is just to free write, just to get your pen to paper and just write. What does it mean to have faith in a higher power? What does it mean? And even if you don't like that language, what does it mean to have faith in my own inspiration or the source of inspiration within me? Or what does it mean to have faith in the universe? I don't care about the language or the words that you use. I just want you to start to riff onto the page, what is your faith statement? And you write for like 10 minutes, okay? And then I want you to underline what really resonates with you, the statements, the words that resonate with you. And a faith statement can sound like this. This is mine. There is an ever-present energy of love within me and around me, supporting me and guiding me. And I know that. And that doesn't need to be your faith statement, though you can take it if you want. But you develop your own. And in developing that statement of faith of what it means to you to be guided, what it means to you to be asked to show up for these experiences from your past at this time, what it means for you to surrender them, to allow yourself to be led to the right therapist or to the right book or to the right healing modality. That's where your faith needs to come through, particularly when we're in the most uncomfortable moments. Because when we show up for those moments from a place of faith that we are being guided, then we don't have to be afraid of what's coming up, but instead we can welcome it and say, okay, this is my moment for guidance, and this is my moment for growth, and this is my moment for healing. So how do we let go of the past and move forward with faith? I actually wrote an entire book about it called The Universe Has Your Back, Transform Fear to Faith. And I will open the book to see if there's a solution that comes through for us in the book as well. But what I believe is that when we become grateful for our past circumstances, no matter how difficult they may have been, that is when we can move forward with a greater understanding and awareness of what those experiences gifted us. When we can look back and say, wow, look how resilient I am. Look how much I learned. Look where that led me. I bottomed out with my relationship and now I feel more free than I've ever felt before. Or that difficult diagnosis led me on my spiritual path. When we can look back with a awareness of the miracles, that's when we can move forward with faith and grace, because we can look back and say thank you. We can look back and recognize and witness all that there was available to us, even in those difficult moments. I'm writing a book right now that will be out in February of 2022, 2/22/22, save the date. It's a book about all of the difficult experiences that I've gone through in my life, but it's actually not a sad book at all. It's a celebratory book about all of the transformation, my devotion to my well-being, my devotion to my happiness, my devotion to my spiritual path and my personal growth path, my ability to live, to tell, to recover, to survive. It's an epic story of resilience. I don't look back on any of the difficult circumstances of my life and wish that they would have been different. I look back with gratitude because they offered me the guidance to take one of two directions, and I chose a direction that was of the highest good for all. So when we make the choice to be on a spiritual path, to follow the voice of that inner wisdom, to grow spiritually or personally, to go through therapeutic practices, to find a teacher that we resonate with, to do the work, to show up in the ways that we are all, everyone watching here are doing, because you wouldn't be watching if you weren't on a path of some kind of personal development. When we make that commitment, we will absolutely be able to experience the miracle of looking back on our past with a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what was, so that we can move forward with faith and grace and belief that the future can be different. And that's a really important message for everyone that's lived through 2020. Look back and thank the universe for revealing to you what you had to learn, how you had to grow, what path you could change directions to be on. And that will help us let go, release, and be restored so that we can move forward in this new year with more grace and ease. So you're feeling stuck in old habits. Okay. And let's see who else out there is understanding, who has the same experience. I'm seeing some high fives. Throw us some high fives if you guys are feeling stuck in some old habits as well, because some people are saying, same girl. Yes, a lot of people are saying that they are feeling stuck in old habits. So here's the deal with old habits that we feel are interfering with the flow of our next right action. Often what I believe is that the way to change a bad habit is to put a good habit in its place. So, for instance, if you have a negative fear-based thought that you consistently keep thinking, when you notice that thought, say a prayer instead. A prayer could just be something as simple as, okay, thank you, universe, for transforming this fear. And you could do that all day long. If you have the habit of picking up a drink and drinking and drinking and drinking, it's just like in the 12 steps. The better habit would be to don't drink, go to a meeting and call your sponsor, right? So it's putting a new habit in the place of the old habit consistently and with a level of commitment and conviction. So the same goes for the way our eating habits. You may be eating too much sugar, and so instead of the sugar, what are you going to replace that with? Now, this process doesn't necessarily address the root cause condition of why you're using that bad habit in the first place, but what it does do is it gets you out of the cycle. And sometimes we can't actually address the root cause of the issue until we actually get ourselves out of the negative cycle in the first place. So the same thing goes with alcoholism or drug addiction or anything like that. When we're in our using behavior, we can't actually do the spiritual work to truly heal. So I want to just start today by giving you the suggestion of putting something in place of the bad habit. So replacing the bad habit with something different. And that doesn't mean that if you fall down the bad habit that you've done anything wrong. Just quickly come back. Okay? And get more and more into that regular pattern of undoing the habit with replacing it with a new one. So I'm not even going to ask you to tell us your habits. I can leave that for you privately, but I want you to think about it today and all of you that are watching, when you end this session with me today for Dear Gabby, I want you to think about, what is the bad habit that I want to replace? What is it that I want to heal and change? What can I replace it with? And make the commitment that you'll replace it with that at least once today. And then tomorrow, make the commitment that you will replace the bad habit at least twice. And then the next day, carry on and carry on and carry on. Okay? You may even want to commit to 40 days of putting the new habit in front of the old habit. Okay? Let's keep it simple. Okay? It will work. And you have a lot of enthusiasm and you have so much faith and you're hooked up, baby. You're hooked up. If you're out there wondering, how can I start to trust and know the voice of inspiration rather than the voice of fear? I would say do more things that bring inspiration into your life. Do more things that temporarily suspend logic and reason and allow you to get into a centered, guided, inspired channel to let come through you what is necessary. Because whenever we give ourselves permission to stop thinking and start allowing, that's when spirit or inspiration, whatever you want to call it, comes through and starts to speak through and move through. The other day I was writing the last chapter of my book and my hands just were typing, and my body started swaying. And I started to feel a chill down my spine. And I started to just hear almost like an auditor coming through. And the words were coming and almost in a really elegant way, in a way that I never even imagined. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And I wrote probably 1,000 words. And I sat back and then I read those words out loud. And I was like, okay, that was channeled material, because I can physically feel it. I can sense it. And then I don't block it because I'm aware of what that feeling is. I know that my body will sway. I know that my hands will just go. And I know that the ideas are just coming. When I read that passage back to my husband, he literally said to me, "We didn't sell this book for enough." His response was literally like, if he was making a joke, but he literally was like, "This is going to be your biggest masterpiece." And then he literally looked at me and he goes, "When did you become this type of writer?" And I said, because I'm allowing it to move through. So that kind of knowing of how does it feel? What does that energy feel like? What does it look like to you? What is it that's moving through? How can you suspend your own ideas? And so as it relates to your relationship, babe, just start to get into the flow of what feels good in that relationship and let inspiration infuse that relationship. And then you can trust that spirit is taking over and giving you the guidance that's of the highest good. And that may mean that you continue on as romantic partners, or it may mean that you become best friends. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You can care less as well when you are in spirit in the relationship. So the message is cultivate more of that inspiration in your day-to-day life. When we are on the precipice of something great and we're about to step into the next level of who we're here to be, the ego voice of fear will come up loud, because the ego speaks first and loudest, as A Course in Miracles says. So the ego is going to say, no. That's way too big. That's way too bright. Who are you to do that? Who are you to serve in that way? Who are you to earn money doing service-oriented work? This is the most common thing that happens for my Spirit Junkie Masterclass students, who are exactly who you are, the people that have had their own personal growth transformation, want to go out and be spiritual coaches or want to do this work in different ways. And they have this story of, who am I to do this? That only response I have for you is, who are you not to? It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to take the growth and the experiences and the healing and the strength and the wisdom and the inspiration and the truth, the vulnerable truth that you have lived, and express it in your own unique way. I don't recommend that you do it sooner than you're ready. So this isn't specifically to you, it's to anyone listening. Some people may feel that they're called to do that, but it may be too soon. They may not be resolved enough. They may be still stuck in a trauma. Here's what I want to tell you right now. We have to teach from where we are. And we have to often be called to teach what we're currently learning. So right now you're living this experience of stepping up, rising up, leveling up. I want you to go and I want you to do a little free writing this afternoon on what it means to you to level up. And then I want you to go onto your Instagram when you're ready, and I want you to post a gorgeous, vulnerable photo of yourself and tell the story of what it means to level up and all the fear that's coming with that and all the discomfort that's coming with that. That is the truth. And your truth is what heals. Your story is what heals. So right now, you being in your truth, nobody wants to see how perfect you are. They want to know that you're with them. And then the method you're expressing is, when I share my truth, I am relieved of my ego. The ego can't exist in the truth. The ego resists that. Right. You don't want the world to see you in the deepest vulnerability, which is that I don't believe I'm worthy. And that lack of worthiness. I posted something on my Instagram today. Where is it? What was it? It was about how if we stopped looking at rejection if we started looking at rejection as a opportunity to grow, what would we have to be afraid of? So if you started looking at this leveling up as what you're here to do, that this is your responsibility, then what is there to be afraid of? If you let go of the rejection or the judgment of others as, okay, whatever happens there is going to happen because it's just going to reveal to me this new level of healing and growth, then there's nothing to be afraid of. If you see guidance in all of it, right? If you can see the guidance in the discomfort, if you can see the guidance in that right now you're learning something about what it means to feel worthy, then this is just another part of your journey. It's another step along the way. There's a few different reasons why we procrastinate. But a big one is when we have a part of ourselves that is not fully developed yet. We can question it, we can judge it, we can become the almost avoidant towards it, because the concept of stepping into something new is very scary and jarring for our ego mentality. The belief system of, who am I to do that? Who am I to be great? Who am I to step out? When we're confident in things, we just do them. When we feel grounded in something that we're here to bring forth, we show up for it. But if there's any form of procrastination, there is in some way a sense of limitation, an underlying sense of limitation. It may not be a conscious awareness of it, but there's an underlying sense of limitation. I'm not good enough. How could I do this? Because when we don't have the willingness to just start, it often can come from that place of, I don't believe I can. So I really want to put procrastination, I want to put it like a mirror in your face, right? not just you, but everybody listening. It's just let's take this procrastination and let's just go face forward with it. And ask that procrastination, what is it revealing to you about yourself? Can you answer that now? Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. So first things first, let's get honest about the ego, because we can't bring these dark thoughts to light unless we shine light on them. The first step then is to look at it, say, oh, procrastination. There you are, revealing to me once again that I don't think I'm good enough. Thank you. Thank you, procrastination, for revealing to me that I don't think I'm good enough. And the next question really is, what are the undeveloped parts of me? What is it that I am, what is it that I am feeling is inadequate? Because when we start to question these belief systems, we can really start to see them through a different lens. Right now, we have a thought form that we keep thinking and it becomes a belief. That's what Abraham Hicks says. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. But what if you looked at those beliefs, those fear-based beliefs, those beliefs of not being good enough, those beliefs of who am I to do this, those beliefs of how dare I, and really just unpack them further, you realize that they're just a bunch of perpetual thoughts that you've been thinking. And so the undoing of those belief systems begins with your thoughts, begins with your mind. I believe in and promote and talk often about deeper therapeutic work, which I always will recommend on this show. But for today's purposes, the what can I do now steps to get out of a place of procrastination are: step one, look at the procrastination, put it straight in your face like a mirror. What is it reflecting back to me? Get honest with yourself. Yes, it's reflecting back to me my belief that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of this. How dare I do this? Whatever that story is. And then really start to pay attention to the belief systems that you keep, the thoughts that you keep thinking that continue to reinforce that belief system. Because if you keep going back to those thoughts and back to those thoughts and back to those thoughts, lady, let me tell you, they're going to take you down. Those thoughts are going to take you down. Those thoughts are going to be the beliefs that carry your life. So you're very young. You're on your Gabby. You're wise. You're on a spiritual path. You're doing a great job at life. So this is your moment to start to be in the pursuit of undoing the thoughts that have turned into a belief that I am not good enough. Confronting those thoughts is terrifying. Totally. So that's where we can start to just be very gentle with ourselves and start to pray about it. We can say, thank you, universe, for revealing to me how I can undo these thought patterns. Don't bang your head against the wall trying to figure it out. Just be in the willingness and the gentle awareness of all of the different resources that are in this universe, this vast universe, that once you become open to them, they can start to be revealed to you. Many people are being faced with traumas from the past. Many traumas have been triggered or reactivated or even remembered at this time, because when we go into a state of crisis, that's often can be the catalyst for old wounds to be brought to the surface. So we can use our faith to transform that trauma into healing and that conflict into growth and that fear into love. But the next step is to say, thank you, universe, for revealing to me how I can heal. And the methods that I recommended, IFS, somatic experiencing, EMDR, emotional freedom technique, EFT, you can follow the tapping solution or use some of my EFT videos. These are resources that will help you greatly. And if anyone's like, I don't have access to any of this, or I can't afford any of this, go to the link in my bio and there's a free anxiety relief workshop. And many of those tools in that anxiety relief workshop, it's totally free. It's in the link in my bio and somebody from my team can post the link. That has SE, somatic experiencing practices. It has EFT in it. It has meditations in it. It has so much that will really, really support you guys. So I'm going to always reference back to that. You used the word fighting. I'm fighting on behalf of my happiness. Once you started to speak about your seasonal depression, I started to notice this need to get out of it fast, which is super understandable. When we have a depressed feeling coming on, often we can perpetuate the feeling because of the fear of the feeling. So you're doing everything right. You're on a medicated path with the help of a psychiatrist. You're doing EFT. You're doing your exercise. You're tuning into Dear Gabby. You're practicing your spiritual practices. You're also experiencing a biochemical thing that happens seasonally. It's what's up. So what I would ask you to try out would be in the moments when you notice that feeling come on. Notice what you notice. Instead of trying to push it away, trying to pick up the affirmation, trying to run out the door, trying to fix it fast, I want you to give yourself a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just to breathe into that space. We can't heal something unless we have the willingness to look at it, to see that it's there, to respect that it's there, to honor that it's there, to be present with what it is. Okay, you have something to tell me. This doesn't take away any of the medicated paths that people need to be on when you have mental illness or you have a biochemical condition. By no means, but it can be in addition to. So becoming accepting of the experience in the moment allows you to be present with the experience so that it can be transformed. If we're trying to push past an experience because it's so uncomfortable, we don't allow the full discharge of the emotional state. We don't allow the processing of our nervous system to process an emotion. We don't allow the feelings to be respected. So maybe once or twice a day when you notice the depression come on, just notice what you notice. Be present with the feeling. Be present with the experience. Don't judge it. Don't try to push it away. Just breathe in. And if you can do that for 90 seconds, the studies have shown that if you breathe into a feeling for 90 seconds, it can transform. So if you breathe into that feeling for 90 seconds and release it, you can have a big transformation. So the undoing of the lack mentality is a journey of clearing the belief systems from a experiential time in your life, right? That happens once again through books like The Universe Has Your Back. So fantastic that you're doing that. Transform Fear to Faith. Excellent work. It comes through therapeutic practices like we've been talking about today. It comes through mental reconditioning. And here's the good news. We all have these conditioned neural pathways from the experiences that we've had as children, particularly young childhood experiences. But the good news is, thanks to neural plasticity, our brain actually can change. Our brain can reorganize. Our brain can become new. Our fight-flight responses can subside. Our PTSD can dissolve. Our lack mentality can turn into an abundance mentality. Our brain has the power to change. And so much of that change happens with the repetition of new behavior. So one thing that you can do simply in this moment is to notice when you are in that lack mentality. Notice how it makes you feel. Forgive the thought and choose again. And this is a method I've shared over and over and over again on this show, the choose again method. Because yes, I could say to all of you, go do 10 years of therapy, which everyone I hope will have the opportunity to do, whatever that form that comes. But what you can do for yourself, you're here for self-help. You're here for Gabby to tell me how I can serve myself. You can be in the proactive development of new thought patterns that feel better. Not thought patterns that you don't believe in, but thought patterns that make you feel better. So when you notice that lack story show up, step 1, notice the thought and how it makes you feel. Step 2, forgive yourself for having the thought. It's very simple. There's my childhood story. There's my parents' lack story again. There it is again. all right, I forgive myself. It just showed up again, because that forgiveness will dissolve that guilt and tension and fear that you're manifesting it, all that crap, right? Third step, choose the next best feeling thought. Choose the thought of, you know what? I just forgave myself for that thought, so I'm dissolving it in this moment. When we're out of alignment, when we're in fear, when we're in that story of things aren't working, we're not in alignment with the higher source of direction that's always guiding us. So the simple, subtle shift of you choosing to get back into alignment opened up your consciousness to see things through the lens of love rather than the lens of fear. And what would have been a very dark time of ending a marriage that was not meant to end, or leaving a situation because it didn't feel comfortable, has now transformed into being in a perfect home, in a marriage that is thriving, with a baby on the way. I have to celebrate you, my love. You are a divine example for all of us in this Dear Gabby community, for what it means to take the guidance, to apply it, and to come back new. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you for coming back on the show to tell us that. Thank you. That is so fierce. Oh, babes, and congratulations on the baby. I'm so happy for you. And you are driftwood for me. In my manifesting challenge, I talk about this concept of driftwood. When you're trying to manifest something, rather than seeing somebody who has what you want, because I want to have another baby, seeing you pregnant could trigger a woman that's trying to conceive, and someone who maybe is struggling to conceive. It could trigger us to think, oh, well, she has it, I don't have it. But I've chosen to see you as driftwood, which is a Abraham Hicks method of seeing that when other people have what you want, they're a divine spiritual moment of the universe revealing to you that what you want is on the way. So I just want to thank you for being my driftwood today. You know, I don't even use that word. No infertility. I like to use the word God's timing. God's timing. Because, it's like any woman out there, let's speak to these women. Any woman out there who has been diagnosed with infertility or is struggling to conceive, that is not the story. The story is that your baby has a timeline and a method through which they will enter this world that is different than yours. So let that go. Surrender to what is of the highest good and trust that the baby is on the way. And babies come in many forms. And when we stay open to creative possibilities, we receive. So thank you so much for being a gorgeous example for us today, my love. And I'm so happy for you. Did you hear that, ladies? Did you hear that, ladies? Let go and take care of yourself. In every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. And what this means to me is that every single moment of our life is guided. Every moment of our life is aligned if we choose to identify and recognize that. Every moment of our life is an opportunity to choose to see through the lens of love rather than the lens of fear. And in those moments, when we do attune, when we do align, when we remember that right-minded thinking and the energy of love is our birthright, that is when we get into a momentum of who we're here to be, of the fun we're meant to have and the service we're here to bring. And I want everybody watching today to know in your heart that you are here to do great things. You are here to serve in your own unique and divine ways. And you are here to be happy, and you are here to be free, and you are here to be loved, and you are here to feel secure, and you are here to know that just watching this show today, just being with me today, was a radical step forward on your journey to spiritual development and personal growth and a greater commitment to the world. So I applaud you. I bow to you. I love you. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.